Welcome to another episode of the Snap Chaps podcast. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We are a conversation show around Marvel Snap between myself, Gethron, a Marvel Snap semi-casual, and my partner in pod, the ongoing power to my Valkyrie, Hoagies. You like that callback to our heated discussion from last time?
Yes, perfect. That's perfect.
The untouchable power. And yeah, how you doing? How was your week?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I had a good week. I'm enjoying Elsa. Um, I climbed to Infinite. So I think it took me. I think it was day three. I got to Infinite,
In the
and it
ladder?
was a grind on ladder. Yeah, and so we talked about bots last week,
I think
and
actually I think I played a couple bots and I did actually jump like 5 levels in ladder and I took some screenshots. I was gonna send them to you, but I never got to it.
oh, nice. Yeah, I took a few screenshots when I identified bots too. Though. I was thinking about sending you, and I didn't. But yeah, it's kind of interesting, like the just how like you can just identify that they're not playing right, and they kind of like only care about power. They only care about like the card's power, and often it's like and I like if they're like playing like a destroy deck, they'll just like play them and weird. They'll like play Carnage on 2 for 2 power without destroying anything, and you're like, what? And like it's just when they make weird moves like that, you're like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
just it's like
Yeah, I had
either
one. It was like there
either
was
I
like a
like
Deadpool on one lane, and then they played the like a Carnage on the other lane. It's just like no, yeah. But why? So
um
my question though is like after I beat that bot, my level jumped significantly. Why would they give such a significant level jump for beating basically a brainless player?
yeah, okay, so yeah, I have a theory on that. I was thinking more about that this week. That uh it's so and I want to compare it to Magic the Gathering Arena, which has a ladder system that's similar but different in that like a big difference in Arena is that when you win, you get 2 points in Arena, and when you lose, you only lose 1 point. Because they want, and it's like very like psychological. Like they want it to, they don't want it to feel bad to lose, right? So it's like, you get a good big reward when you win, and you get a smaller punishment for losing. So it doesn't feel as bad to lose. And in Snap, like it's Snap has the snap mechanic that makes it more like that adds this like poker element, this betting element to it. So they don't want to do that like they don't want to give you an extra reward for winning. They want it to be a zero sum game, so it's more like poker. It's more like your cubes are like poker chips that you're winning and losing, that you're truly betting with. Um, but then but also like psychologically, they don't want it to feel as bad to lose, and that is actually where my biggest struggle, I think, that I was noticing about myself this week is like it's like when I'm trying to climb to infinite, I get frustrated when I lose, and it's and like I was thinking like when I lose, it feels like losing real money. But when I win, it doesn't feel like winning real money. But when I'm just
Well,
like,
yeah,
I
it
just
just
get so
feels like
frustrated on that climb.
you're okay. So yeah, I wanted to comment on this. Firstly, I thought we definitively said that it's not a zero sum game.
I
Like
thought that I convinced you that it is a zero sum game last week.
no, that actually I was thinking about that this morning, and it's just like how funny is that I was just like I was so convinced it wasn't. I was just like, but I'm like telling you who actually understands it that it's not what it is. It's just like just classic Gathron there, I
Well,
would say.
well, that's fair. I'm not infallible. You're allowed
So
to dispute anything I say.
like maybe that is a good thing to have such strong. Like I have a lot of faith in my own logic, even if it's mistaken. I don't know if that's good or not. But what I wanted to say
No,
was, you
but
know,
bots do make it less of a zero sum game, and they make it feel better, right? They make it, and they kind of gift you 8 cubes oftentimes. I think that's why they're there. They just want to
well,
make it
and but
feel
the yeah, it
better
was
because
more.
otherwise the zero sum game is frustrating.
But it was more than 8 cubes. It was also like a 5 level jump, which that one felt good. But what I wanted to say was
Oh,
that the
I
lesson.
know what that is.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can answer the jump thing. When you that wasn't because it was a bot. That's because when you hit a multiple of 10, they also gift you 3 levels. So when you hit level 80, they bump you up to 83. When you hit level 90, they bump you up to 93.
Why would they do that?
Just it's another way of like making you feel better and all making it less of a zero sum game, I think.
So they want to so they want to align with my original opinion. But what I wanted to say though is you're kind of the I'm your kind of Padawan in terms of Marvel Snap here, right? I think we could both agree on that. You're the Jedi Master,
Or
and
who was Gathron's assistant in the
it
books?
was Captain Pelion. But no, I'm Gathron, so
Yeah, so
we can't use that
I'm
metaphor.
kind of like yeah.
You're saying you're the Thrawn and I'm the Pelion?
Which is also
I
very much like a Socrates and Socrates is
like,
that's how I always thought of like how Socrates is like
like
explaining things to his
to Plato.
the other guy. Oh, it's
Well,
Plato. Yeah, is it Plato?
yeah,
No, I thought no. Plato wrote them, but it was like he, there was just like some fictitious like kind of
understudy,
like just good like question asker to Socrates.
child at the knee. Well, so what I wanted to say is, so we're not doing. No, you're not the Thrawn. I'm the Thrawn. Okay, but we can shift to the Padawan analogy, and I just wanted to say that Hoagie's giveth. So you gaveth knowledge about the ladder system, how it worked. But then that also taketh away because as we've talked about, I used to play ladder very casually, not really understanding the whole zero sum game, which I've vehemently argued against. And I would just play, and if I was taking a work call, I would just like ignore the game. I didn't really care. Actually, I didn't really understand the mechanic for how I advanced. And I always thought like if I'm just trying to earn my daily rewards, that I would just play a few ladders, play my like ongoing deck, which will just score me multiple ongoing plays um, in a row, and then be done with it. But now I can no longer use ladder for that because now I have to be strategic. Anytime I'm like playing against like a high Evo deck or I have like just the wrong hand, I'm just like out the door retreating with one. Like, all right, see you later, and you take the one loss and you just keep it moving. And I used to never do that so seriously before, and so basically now the proving grounds has to become kind of the arena where you just don't give a shit, basically.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, I agree 100%. Proving grounds is no stakes, and that's when like I get so stressed, and that's one thing I was thinking about when I was climbing. I was like, I'm supposed to be playing this game for fun, and I'm just getting too stressed about this. But it's like, but then I couldn't stop. I'm just like, I gotta get to infinite. But then once I get to infinite, then I can go into conquest, and then I don't like the stakes are just non-existent in conquest for me. Like I don't even really care that much if I lose a gold or infinite ticket. Like those are so hard to win anyway. It's like you're like to win 3 in a row, you got to have a good combination of luck and skill and good deck and everything. And it's okay. It's when you lose, it's fine. Like that's gonna happen. But like, yeah, and
So, but why? So, but
climbing.
why do you? Why do you have to get to? to infinite so quickly? I mean, it's the first week of the season. Like, why, why do you feel that
Uh,
that mattered to you
because I
so
just
much?
I think part of it's probably pride, but the other part is I prefer conquest, but I want to get all the infinite rewards. So so I just want to get it done. It's like a chore. I want to get it done with so I can have fun in conquest.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Um, I've started the climb now. Now I want to. Now that you've educated me, I'm. We'll see how far I can go. I think 900 is 500 gold, right? I think that's my goal for this season. We'll see how I do. I think I'm all right.
Yeah,
I think I'm on like. I think I'm in the high 70s at the moment.
nice, nice. Yeah, I think 90 is a good goal. Like you don't need to get all the way to infinite. But the nice thing about getting to infinite is that kind of carries over to the next season, and then you'll start the next season at 73. Um, but I would really say like try not to let it stress you out like it does for me. And if you do get like tilted and stuff, you can always just go to proving grounds and then you're not going to lose cubes and you can test
Well,
different
yeah.
decks
So that's the
before you
thing.
like play
So
for stakes again.
So I was telling you last time that I was started to do a Nimrod Lady Deathstrike deck. Well, I jettisoned the Lady Deathstrike, but which I still think there is something there. But now I've kind of settled on playing Nimrod, I wanted to say a Nimroyer. Can I say that?
Oh yeah, that was good.
Nimroy, a Nimrod Destroyer deck.
What about do you have Shuri in there?
Have to have Shuri. Got the Shuri and the magic. And actually, the thing is, I was trying to figure out what to do with the front half of the deck because you know, the like you basically need Shuri turn 4, Nimrod turn 5, or turn 5, turn 6 if like worst case scenario. Um, but then you need to and then you play the destroyer maybe turn 6 if you can, and then you've got like a couple other destroyers, and you've got your Venom to like clean things up and move things around turn 7. That's a really good play. So it's like, what matters for turn 1, 2, and 3 then? Like, what do I need to have in there? And so actually, so I finally settled on using Deadpool and the Hulk. The Hulk was the Hulk casing. The Hulk.
Sure.
Sorry.
Hulkbuster.
Yeah. So
Hulkbuster.
so I have that with Wolverine. So it's like one of the two of them can get boosted up. And actually, sometimes having being able to play like a very high power Deadpool on turn 7. And I also have the Arim Zola in there as well. So I'm enjoying that one.
Mm,
That deck has carried me to where I am in the ladder. So that's kind of my favorite deck at the moment.
nice. Yeah, I love that deck. It's fun. It's really fun and it's really powerful. Well, okay, so I think actually the most powerful end game is like you can even do this on 6 if you don't have magic out is so Shuri on 4, Nimrod on 5, then Venom on the Nimrod lane, and Carnage on
Another
a
lane.
different lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's in there. I do that. I guess I just like I mean it's taken me a little bit of practice to figure out like where all the Nimrods are going to get pushed here and there, but I think that in the
Oh
end
yeah, I know.
it's pretty unpredictable. I like that.
Yeah. Right, because because your opponent doesn't know what you have in your hand. And so like they don't know if you're gonna be doing Zola. They don't know if you're gonna be doing uh that the Venom Carnage. Um oh yeah, there can be like a with Zola,
I mean,
I've never actually done this, but like the Bar Sinister, like there's like a Bar Sinister combo with
what's
Venom
bar?
and Zola. Bar Sinister is a location. It's the location that like it fills it fills the location with copies of whatever you play there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like if I like I've just seen like memes of this, but like if you so if you ever get a bar
Like put a
Sinister
Zola on that.
location, no, you put Venom on it. I don't know exactly how you pull this off, but it's like you want to be able to have like a Venom and a Zola on it somehow.
Well, actually, no, because
Um,
if you play the Venom, then eventually they're gonna stop eating themselves, the copies.
oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, good point. So like yeah, so I think maybe it's like Venom on 5 and then Zola on 6. It just like gets insane. Like
It's just like munching.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been fun for sure. We'll see. I don't like I'm not sure. I don't think it has the tech cards that are needed for Conquest. I've tried playing a little bit of Conquest here and there, but it's kind of like, those armors or the Cosmos, can shut shit down pretty effectively. But let's I
Yeah.
what about you? So in the top of the pod, you mentioned you've been enjoying a bit of Elsa Bloodstone. I know that works not
Oh
really
yeah.
well with the bounce decks, which you've always been fond of. So what have you been playing?
Um, yeah, so on my Infinite Climb, I was doing a lot of different Elsa builds. So I think I pretty much started with this one from Dara JN, which was like uh it was like a combination of bounce and or no, it was a combination of like Brood, the Brood Absman deck, plus the Kitty Shuri deck with Elsa. So it's just like you're playing Elsa, like you're playing Broods to like fill up to like fill lanes for Elsa to buff,
Yeah, and you
and
keep
then
scoring
but then
jackpots.
you've also got
Yeah.
right then you've also got like Kitty Shuri, Taskmaster plays, and so that was pretty fun. But I was just like I gained some cubes with that one, but then I was just kind of struggling with it a little bit, and then I ended up playing um more of like a standard like bounce deck with Beast. I got this deck list from Howling Minds, and I had a lot of success with that one, but then I was starting to struggle when I was in the 90s. Um, and then I ended up pushing the Infinite with the KM Best version, which was a very similar build, but it included Mirage for with the purpose of like in the mirror in like the Elsa mirror. If you play Mirage, like you can get like some like a really good card. You can get like Mysterio. Mysterio is a really good card for that that deck because like you got Hitmonkey playing Hitmonkey and Mysterio, on one of your last plays, and like Bast can like hit Mysterio, and like if Bast hits Mysterio, it actually like it buffs the
The clones or the
illusions.
ghosts. Yeah, the illusions.
Um, so that was the one that I pushed through to Infinite with. Um, but I have to say, like, I think the meta is just like wide open now. I mean, I do think Elsa is probably the best deck to play, but there's like a lot of different versions of Elsa that you can play. And then I do think like there's some good counters to Elsa, like one of them being Shadow King. I think is a really good counter, and like there is an Elsa build that includes Shadow King. It's like it includes Luke Cage, so like Shadow King doesn't affect your own cards. And then like this one crazy build has Moon Girl, so it's like you like play Moon Girl. The best play is like you want a Moon Girl when you have Elsa and Shadow King in your hand. So you get two Elsas and two Shadow Kings. And then it's like on turn 5, you play both Elsas. And then on turn 6, you're like playing two Shadow Kings. So I got beat. I got beat by that deck once. But I don't know how consistent that one is, but it's pretty fun.
I
But
did
yeah, so
I
like
did play
then you
I did play like a Sinister London game that had like the Elsas like pew, 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 pewing all over the place. Yeah,
mm,
that was effective.
so I've had a lot of really good games on with the what's it called, cloning vats, is that what it's called, where it creates a copy in your hand of whatever you play there. Um, and like you just keep cloning Elsa and just get like four Elsas, so you have like three Elsas on cloning vats, and then like put a Jeff in there that's going to be like a 15 power Jeff. Copies that 15 power Jeff back into your hand. You move it out, and then then you play that 15 power Jeff into that lane. That turns into like a 25 power Jeff, and you move that out.
That's fucking
Pretty
nuts.
fun. Yeah.
Is that what you guys do up at
Yeah.
Infinite? That's what you guys do up at Infinite, that kind of shit.
Yeah. Well, hey, did you buy the battle pass?
Yeah, I did. I'm committed to this pod for the foreseeable future, so a $10
Elsa's a
investment
great
is fine. Yeah, it's I have Elsa in my Nimroi deck,
card. Oh, you do? Nice.
but partially just so I can experience how that might work, and because there's also some kind of lane clears. It's not super effective, but as much as the other ones. Um, what else were you running this week?
Well, the other thing I was running is related to our next topic. So why don't we
Oh yeah,
why don't we
is this the collection
why don't you
section?
tell us yeah yeah
Okay,
tell us your big collection update for the
okay.
week.
So I this week I really felt like the child, who has taken all his tickets. He's been playing at the arcade. He's like earned all his little tickets, and he takes them up to the counter to cash them in and figure out what he's going to get for it. This is the week that we had our eye on for a while. We chatted about it in previous episodes. I was going for Thanos. You can see it there on the slide. Um, didn't have any of those cards. Wanted the X-23 because I like Destroy, and I wanted Thanos. At long last, after playing this game for years, forever, for like decades now, I still didn't have Thanos. So, again, thanks to your tutelage, I understood the ways of the Force, and I understood that sometimes you got to go deep. You got to just drop all the spotlight caches down to get the one you want. Um, and of course, that's much easier to do when you're happy with any of the cards you get. So the first one I pulled, fancy that, I guess. So because the Elsa Bloodstone is not in the rotation because of the season pass, I guess did they have do you know if it was a fourth card or it was just the random? Because
Oh yeah, no, there's always a fourth spot, and the fourth spot is always a random Series 4, Series 5 card. And then if you already have that card, you get 1,000
right,
collector's
that's
tokens instead.
right, right. Um, so I pulled Snow Guard as my first one. That's right, right. That's Snow Guard is the name. Which was pretty nice. I mean, probably Snow Guard's probably fallen out of the rotation a little bit now with the the transition in the seasons. Then I pulled the Echo,
The nerf.
probably
She got nerfed.
second least desirable card. Then X-23, then Bad and Cleanup number 4. There he was, Thanos, waiting for me on the ruins of Titan. I got him. Now,
So
now
you
this
had
is
to spend all four.
I did. I
You had to
was
spend
I was
four
prepared to
spotlight
do
caches.
so, and I was also happy to do so. For all of those reasons. So, I also got Elsa
Yeah, you got
Bloodstone.
some good stuff in
So
there.
so this week 5 new cards. I feel like kind of the cards are runneth over.
That's awesome. How many spotlight caches do you have left?
So I just got a new one, so I'm back up to 3.
Three, nice. So you're ready. You're almost ready to. I mean, by next week you should be ready to get another one
Yeah,
if
I
you
think
want.
I think we were
But
already looking at the schedule ahead. How about you? What additions did you add to your deck in addition to Elsa this week? Well, not deck, collection.
I think Elsa would be the only one this week. Um, but yeah, I've got my eye on the rest of the month. I guess well, so here's my kind of like new plan right now is I'm trying to only buy the season pass. I've got a big hoard of spotlight caches and collector's tokens.
How many?
So I think I'm up to like 15. I think I have like 15 spotlight caches saved up. And then
How many tokens?
I think I have like 12,000 or something. Um so I think this is an old graphic because I just heard on a podcast that Man Thing is a Series 4 card. So on this slide it says Man Thing. Man Thing's the new card next week is going to be Series 5. So I think it's a Series 4. So that's a good one to spend tokens on if you end up buying him. And for Man Thing, I'm just going to watch. Again, I'm trying to be conservative because I don't want to spend any more money aside from the season pass. So I just want to save my resources, make sure I'm spending them on cards I'm actually going to play, I'm actually going to enjoy. I don't want to buy cards that I don't end up playing. So for Man Thing, I'm just going to watch. I'm just going to watch for a few days and just see what people are saying about him and decide if I want to buy him. The nice thing about him being a Series 4 is that if I'm spending tokens on him, it doesn't matter if I get him next week or if I get him, anytime in the future. That's kind of my same thought about Ravonna Renslayer. I did not buy. She's Series 4. If I ever feel like I want her, it's going to be pretty easy for me to buy her with tokens. Um, the all the other cards look interesting. I think Nico is almost guaranteed to be a really fun card. Just because she's very like Thanos-esque in that she has a lot of different spells that she can cast. So that's the week of October 24th. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna spend caches on her. And then every other week this month, I'm going to again just watch and see. I don't really play much discard, honestly. So Black Knight, the week of October 17th, is a discard kind of archetype card. So if I had to guess, I'd say I probably won't buy Black Knight just because I don't really play much discard. And then on that same note, the week of October 31st, Werewolf by Night is a move card. I do
That
really
seems
like the
like your kind
Silkus
of
move
card.
deck. Yeah, so I probably will get Werewolf by Night as well. Um, so that could be a good week for you to target because Silk is in the spotlight cache
Yeah,
that week too,
you read
and
my
I love
mind.
Silk.
Actually, I don't
I do have. Oh,
actually I don't have any of those as well. So I feel like as long as those keep popping up and they have good cards in there, worth that's where it's worth kind of cashing in.
when it's a cache that has all of your
Because
a
I
bunch of
mean
cards
I
that you
do
don't.
on like as I'm looking ahead here, it's like okay I do have 2 out of 3 of these, so it's like I mean I'm really am I how happy am I going to be cashing in 4 spotlight caches just to get one new card? Ouch.
Right. Right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for me, when that's happened to me in the past, like they come with cool variants, which can be fun, but
Probably I would
still
end
can
up
hurt if
getting
you're spending
pixel
a lot of
variants. They probably would somehow end up giving me the pixel variants.
money. Yeah. But then there's also the opposite. Like you can high roll and get them on the first, and then that feels really good to only spend one spotlight cash. Um, so I included slides because we do have data mines now all the way through December. So I included slides for
Shout out
November
to
and
the miners.
December. I
Shout
don't
out
think.
to the miners out there down there digging things up.
Yeah, I know. That seems like that would be really hard work. So yeah, I appreciate the work they're putting into that, and it's
Look at
fun. It's cool to
I was
know what's
looking at
going
the
on.
the gladiator. Is this like what's the point of the gladiator? I was like so on reveal, add a card from your opponent's deck. That doesn't mean like does that mean take it out of the deck like a cable and then put
Yeah.
on your own side and then destroy it? Is that like a null play? Like what's the point of that?
So Gladiators the week of November 14th. On reveal, add a card from your opponent's deck to their side of this location. If it has
Oh,
less
to their
power,
side, yeah.
destroy it. And it's a 3/8. So it's a really high power, right, for 3 costs. And it may have been changed by now. Again, I think this might be an old graphic. It might be down to 3.7 in this latest data mine, but I can't remember. But and these are always subject to change. Data mines are not official, they're subject to change. Um, but the point of that is like you're getting a lot of power and you have a high likelihood of destroying whatever you're pulling out of their deck. So you pull up anything that's less power than Gladiator, it destroys it. So then you just get like you get a 3/8. So that's just really powerful.
How about a
But
forge a
it's a
forge
risk, right?
gladiator? Forge gladiator.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Right. Good point. Forge Gladiator, Shuri Gladiator, you know. But yeah, I mean, if Gladiator becomes really big in the metagame, then people start running like Infinite and Giganto, trying to kill the Gladiator.
Okay.
Um,
Any other interesting cards on this list that you've seen?
uh, I Yeah, I mean, I think they're all interesting. Like Ms. Marvel, I think looks really good. She's a season pass card. Um, a lot of people are saying like season pass cards look to be the most powerful and all in the upcoming months. Um, well, part of what I wanted to do with this though is look at what else is in each cache. Like Eliath, I think is a really good card. Like so that's one you might want to target. But of course, that's a season pass week. And it comes with that's November 7th. It comes with Null and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, which that's Negasonic is just a bad card. I probably already have Null.
I think I have, yeah, I
Um,
have both those except for Allie.
and then I don't know if we like how useful it is to look all the way up to December. Again, just knowing that these are subject to change. But for me, one week that I have in mind is December 12th has Ravonna Renslayer, who I don't have, and also Man Thing, who is, it's next week's card. So if I don't end up buying Man Thing next week, um, it will be in the I'll be able to get Man Thing and Ravonna the week of December 12th. Um, the week of December 19th, Nico is going to be in that spotlight. Week of December 26th, Black Knight is in the spotlight. So there's, it's just helpful to look at these to plan ahead for what you want to buy.
And yeah, cool. That's
Um,
thanks for sharing those.
well,
Those I think those are interesting upcoming cards.
yeah, me too. I'm excited. I think there's a lot of cool stuff coming up. The one other thing, like I noticed that isn't on isn't in any of the upcoming caches or two cards are Iron Lad and Howard the Duck. And so I don't really know what their plan is for those, but I one speculation is that they may be reintroducing series drops sometime, and if and
What's this? What's that?
good question. So we could probably do a whole podcast on series drops. So I don't know how deep we want to go into the conversation now, but um, it's a contentious topic. I have some theories about what's happening behind the scenes at Second Dinner with this, but essentially, they used to have a system ever since they created Series 4 and Series 5 back in November of last year. They created Series 4 and Series 5 cards. They had a system called series drops, and I guess I take that back. The series drops started, I think, back in January, but they had a system called series drops where every month a certain number of cards would change from series 5 to series 4, and then more cards would change from series 4 to series 3. And they had it on the schedule where essentially um, every new card, except for the identified big bads, the big bads would always be Series 5, but every other card would be on the schedule of being in a series for 2 months. So get introduced to Series 5, spend 2 months in Series 5, and then drop to Series 4, spend 2 months in Series 4, and then drop to Series 3. And that would mean that if you're Series 3 complete, all those cards are free for you once they drop to Series 3. And
So that means
And
you'll
basically,
just
like
pick
it
them
made
up as you advance through the collections.
yeah, right. And so, um, and it really begged the question, why would you ever spend resources on these cards if you're just going to get them for free later anyway? And the answer to that is like you want to get them sooner. So like that's that would be the only reason to ever spend any resources on a card is if you want to get them sooner. Otherwise, you just wait and get them for free later. Um, and so I've kind of changed my philosophy. I know like for a while I was saying like I thought Second Dinner was really generous in their in the card acquisition model. Um, and I think what I'm realizing is I think they were I think they were too generous back when they had the series drop model, because like they're basically giving you every card for free. Why would you ever spend money in a game where they're giving you every card for free, right? Um, and I think, and so a little more history is when they introduced the Spotlight Cash system back in August. I think it was early August they introduced this. Um, this was kind of this was not transparent at all on their part. So it's kind of very frustrating, I think, on their part, is that when they introduced the system, they also paused series drops and they didn't say a word about doing that. Right. So like they're so
No,
and they're marketing this new
I
system and they're
actually
like,
I did realize I did notice the change, just like as I noticed that for a while they turned off the hose to collectors tokens. It's like, okay, I'm not actually pulling any cards anymore except in the Spotlight Cash.
yeah, and so when they're marketing the system, they're just marketing all the benefits. They're like, players are going to get more cards. We're doing this to give the. I think the the phrase they kept using is like, this change is meant to put more cards in the hands of more players. What they didn't tell us is like those more players. I think are basically just the Series 3 players. They're trying to put more cards in the hands of more Series 3 players. Meanwhile, very non-transparently they're making the game more expensive for anyone who's Series 3 complete because they're taking away a bunch of the resources and also taking away the series drops. So they're not giving us those free cards anymore. And I don't, it's just frustrating because it's not transparent. But on the other hand, it's like I think they realized they were being too generous. Maybe that was actually baked into the plan the entire time, right? Because Second Dinner is a startup. I think a big strategy for startups is startups should be very generous, right? When they're first starting out, like they need to be really generous. And they're operating at a loss. They're being really generous, operating at a loss to try to get as many customers as possible. And so Marvel Snap achieved that goal. They got all the customers. Now now they don't need to be as generous
Highest
anymore.
grossing digital card game out there, right?
Exactly. So I mean it's kind of I mean what's really frustrating to me is the lack of transparency. Um they're a business. Their primary goal I think is going to be to maximize profit. Whereas like and I think what, there was so here's another thing about series drops is like Marvel Snap is very transparent in a lot of ways, and they do respond to questions on Discord and on Twitter. They respond to a lot of questions and really give us a lot of transparency. But they were literally deleting any question about series drops for a while. So if someone asked a question about series drops on Discord, it would get deleted, and and so like that's a red flag, right? They don't want to be transparent about this. But they did recently post in Discord that it's a contentious issue at Second Dinner, the series drop issue. And so I think, speculating on what's happening behind the scenes is I think most of the employees at Second Dinner are like me, generous. They like to be generous. They want to give players free cards, they want to make players happy, but they have investors have a voice at the table and finance has a voice at the table, and those people are saying no, we're not giving away free stuff anymore. I
That's
mean, we're going to give away free stuff. But that's part of maximizing our profit. We're giving away free stuff to get more players, and then we want to pressure them into spending money. But we're not going to just give away everything for free anymore. Um, anyway, that's my rant on that topic.
But anyways, who's? I mean, we have a nice meaty topic coming up, so I don't want to go too far into this. But I mean, where is the money coming from, right? Like which, I mean, like which purchases are they scoring? Because there's the season pass, right? Probably there's a lot of people out there that are doing that, and I would say that someone who's paying for a season pass every month, is that a whale? I mean, we had the porpoise. You're a porpoise whale. What are you? We've done this debate before, but it's like, are you talking about the people paying more as like real whales that are paying cash for golds? Those $99 gold sets or whatever. Is that like that's what you're talking about, or you're just talking about the money coming from the season passes mostly?
Yeah, I think I mean they're definitely targeting like at least like three different types of consumers, I think. So the season pass consumer, people who are willing to pay $10 a month. That's one one consumer
The
type that they're
porpoises.
targeting.
I think porpoises is what we call them.
Yeah, purpose. Yeah, minnows. Minnows are maybe free to play. Uh, so then then they have like all different pricings for bundles, right? So like some of those porpoises will buy a $5 or $10 bundle here and there. They've got some like $30 bundles. I think they've realized is a good like 20 to 30 is a good price point to get, to try to get a lot of people to buy that. But then they have $100 bundles, and it's hard to say which ones they're making the most money from. But if you want to have a full collection, you probably need to be buying some of those $100 bundles, I think.
Do you,
Um,
do you think that our number one fan of the Snapchats pod, Post Malone? Do you think he's kind of a porpoise like us, just grinding it out, or you think he just splashes the cash and just buys up every new card? Or how do you think Post Malone uses his whale like resources?
I'm I'm pretty sure Post Malone has a full collection and has some blinged out variants. And one reason I say that is this is funny. So I learned about the I don't really follow the news. I learned about this at the arcade. I went to the arcade. I go to the arcade.
You get your source of news from the arcade community. Okay.
But so like this guy that works at the arcade likes to chat with me. I like to chat with him. And but he was telling me about first. So first he was like trying to convince me to buy some Pokemon cards. Was my points at the arcade. and, uh, and then and I was like, oh, and he's like, hey, he's like, have you heard of Post Malone? And I was like, yeah.
Have I heard of
I was
Post
like, yeah, oh yeah.
Malone?
I was like, oh yeah. I mean, like,
Like
I play
we
more
have
on
him
Snap,
scheduled
go to
for our
T, like,
podcast.
yeah, right, right. And so he was like, "Well, did you know that he plays Magic the Gathering?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, I would participate in the MTGA event with Post Malone, and like it was awesome. And he's like, "Well, did you hear like?" And then he like pulls out, he's got this like he pulled out this deck of like the new Magic the Gathering cards, and he was showing me like it's the Lord of the Rings theme, and he pulled out the One True Ring card, which is I think a mythic rare, and he's like, "Did you know that there was a oh, is that the One True Ring?"
Yep. The the ringtone them all. Go on.
Um, so he's like, "Did you know that they printed one special version of this card that's like there's just one of them, and that like everyone was like opening packs to find it, and there was like a an auction for it, and even before it was discovered, we knew it was out there. There's an auction for it, and then so when the person that finally got it opened it up, they put it on this auction, and Post Malone ended up buying it for $2.5 million.
That
Some
sounds that
something
sounds like
crazy.
Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
Yeah. So, considering that he was willing to spend $2.5 million on one Magic card, I think he probably has a full. I think he's probably a whale.
Do we know what Post Malone's gamer handle is? He hasn't shared that with us yet.
Um, it might be on that. There's like that picture of him on the internet playing Marvel Snap at the tattoo while he's getting a tattoo. You might be able to, if you zoom in on it, you might be able to see. It might just say Post Malone. I don't know.
Well, we need. I'm going to talk to our producers after this episode because he did promise that when our show had like more subscribers and was a bigger deal, he would make an appearance. So I wonder, now this is our fifth episode here. I wonder, maybe it's time to reach out to him again.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're up to 10. We're up to 10 subscribers.
Are we? I
I don't
haven't
know.
checked recently.
I think it's 10. I think there is 10. I think there are 10 people out there.
Fantastic. Thank you to all 10 of them, 8 of them. Thank you to all 8 of them out there.
You know what I think we need to do is I think we need to get up to 20 and then we can tell Post Malone's agent that we literally have tens of subscribers.
Okay, are you listening to that, producer Jonathan? Okay. Great. So let's go to the topic which we've all been waiting for. In the run up to today's pod, there's so we'll skip that one. Let's just go right to it. In the run up to today's pod, knowing that I was going to cash in and get the Thanos, I asked Hoagies if he would, we can do a spotlight on Thanos decks. Now, as we've discussed previously, Thanos is not at the top of the meta. He's kind of sitting out there waiting. Hoagies has prognosticated that he foresees a return to Thanos at some point in the near future. I got Thanos in prep for this podcast. I did try to create a Thanos deck. However, I was not being serious because there were also one of the daily rewards was I had to play 31 cost cards. So I just made a Thanos plus 1 cost card deck. And you know what? I won. I won like a bunch of proving ground games with that. So I guess just to explain the little Thanos deck, we'll look at the Power Stones, and then Hoagies is going to give us several variations on. We'll get into how to play Thanos decks and everything else like that. But basically, when you start a deck with Thanos, similar to High Evo, it just triggers an effect for the deck experience, and you shuffle. In addition to your 12 cards, you shuffle 6 additional Power Stone cards into the deck. They're there on the screen. You've got the Soul Stone, ongoing enemy cards have -1. I think that's a good one. Mind Stone, reveal, draw 2 stones from your deck. I think that's also an important one to try to get all the stones out there. Time Stone, on reveal, draw a card. Next turn, you get +1 energy. That's fine. Ongoing, or the Power Stone is ongoing if you played all 6. Thanos has +10 power. That's, I guess, kind of like the cherry on top. Really don't need that one, I guess, until the end. And that one gives you the big bomb of a 620 Thanos. And then there's a Space Stone on reveal. Next turn, you can move 1 card to this location, draw a card, sure. And the Reality Stone transform this location into a new one, draw a card. I think that's also a good wrinkle card. Now, I know that the Thanos deck has been nerfed in the past based on the changes made to the Infinity Stones. So, can you, our Jedi historian, tell us what was nerfed? And then we'll talk about playing the
Yeah,
stones.
I mean, he has gone through several iterations. Mostly it was tweaks to Thanos's power. You think he started out as 6'8", and then he was 6'11", and then I think he was down to 6'10", something like that.
6'10" feels good, like 10.
I think 6'10" feels right because it's higher than Chavez, which it should be, I think. Um, But the recent nerf that has everyone saying like that Thanos is dead is, it didn't seem like a big nerf to me, but I think it is pretty significant. The Soul Stone was nerfed. So Soul Stone used to include a draw card, just like Space Stone, Time Stone, and Reality Stone. The Soul Stone would had a draw card, so they just removed that draw card from Soul Stone, and it really hurts Thanos' momentum when you're playing a Thanos deck, because you just really, a big thing that you really want to be doing is drawing a lot of cards. And so drawing one less card on that Soul Stone just hurts. It hurts when you draw the Soul Stone. But the Soul Stone, and they did say this, like Soul Stone is one of the most powerful cards in Thanos. That's why they chose the Soul Stone. Giving the
A
enemy cards minus
soul
one
for a
power.
soul.
Yes. Red Skull. Um, but yeah, one other thing I'll say about the stones that I hear a lot, I agree with, is that like if you have the Mind Stone on turn one, you should snap. So that's just one strategy with playing a Thanos deck. It's like Mind Stone is very powerful, especially early. When you get the Mind Stone early, you get to draw two stones from your deck on turn one. You should snap because you're going to have a good game if you're able to play a lot of stones like that.
Um, I mean, yeah. So in my minimal experience, it's kind of like if you don't get all the stones, then it's like then the deck is not reaching its full fruition, right? So it's like so. I guess any deck should, in theory, be built around a method to get all the stones out there, right?
Um, I mean, you should be trying to get the stones. I don't know if there really is a good method to building around that to trying to get more stones. Really the only other card in the game that allows you to, well, I guess there's Crystal allows you to draw a card, and Adam Warlock allows you to draw a card, but they're both fairly weak cards. I don't really see them in Thanos much. Um, another quick point I'll make is that the Power Stone is probably the weakest, and that it's your strategy generally should not be trying too hard to get all six stone, or to get Thanos up to 620. It's great. It's great when it happens, but it's just like it's so hard to do that you need to have an easier win condition in your deck, right? You're trying to win in a different way. And then if you so happen to play all six stones and get Thanos's additional power, that's awesome. But it's not a very common win
So
condition.
what you're saying is that Thanos decks, the goal is not, I mean, the goal is not to get the 620 Thanos and all the stones out there. Like that's wonderful if it does happen, but it's basically the stones and Thanos are like a vehicle to other win conditions.
Right, right, yeah. So like yeah, that's kind of like the first lesson in playing Thanos is understanding that the power of a Thanos deck is the stones. The stones are very powerful. Thanos himself usually is not that powerful.
Okay. So yeah, that makes sense to me. Okay. Yeah, and also I guess I didn't say this in the little intro here, but I think Thanos isn't going anywhere. He is the big bad in the MCU and in Marvel and everything. So we can revisit Thanos somewhere down the road, but I think we wanted to devote time to having to getting our Thanos discussion in full down on wax. And this is a great chance to do that. So, um, any other thoughts on like the stones or? I mean, we're going to look at different various deck types that you're going to present for us. Any other thoughts before we start looking at those?
No, let's jump into to the deck. Do you want to just read the list on the first one?
Yeah, and you've prepared multiple, but we're gonna go through this one in full, and then we'll maybe not go through all of them in the card by card necessarily for the other ones. But you've got a bunch of variations for us, and you also have to let us know why you chose these ones, which one you prefer, and so forth. And also selfishly, I get to now have very effective Thanos decks and use him properly thanks to you, Hoagies. So first one is the Thanos Control, and this is the first one you're introducing. So I'm guessing this may be the one that you either think is the most effective or like the most, which contains Nightcrawler, Elsa Bloodstone, recent addition, Psylocke, recently buffed to a 2/2, Jeff Wave to control the late turn, maybe a turn 6, the Iron Man, Devil Dinosaur, Prof X, Claw, Vision, Chavez, and Thanos.
Yeah, so yeah, you're right. I think this is the most powerful like recent Thanos deck. So this archetype, this Thanos control archetype was probably the number one deck in the game back in August, I think. Um and it was created originally by a professional card player whose handle is W, previously known as Wowolos, but people were having a hard time saying that, so he changed his handle to just W. Um, and uh, the really, and I've made some tweaks to it. I don't remember what exactly the exact build was when he was playing it a lot, but really the the main play line, the number one targeted play line in this deck is to play either the Time Stone or Psylocke on 3. So you can play Professor X on 4. So you're trying to lock down a Professor X lane by turn 4. And trying to put some other stuff in that lane if you can. So and then also having Claw to get into that lane later if you need to.
And
And so
plus
because
Jeff, of
Claw,
course.
yeah, plus Jeff can get into that lane later too. But because Claw is because of the way Claw works, right? Claw really needs to be played on the left lane or the middle lane to get his value. And so because of that, you're really trying to target the middle lane or right lane for Professor X to make sure that Claw can get in there. So it's something like when you're playing this deck, you really just have to be planning that out from turn 1. That basically, usually when I play this deck, I'm just always targeting the right lane on turn 1. Whatever, unless there's something, you obviously you got to look at the locations. If there's like a really important location on the left lane, then I might play there. But otherwise, I'm really targeting that right lane. Um, I've included Elsa. I was trying out a lot of different versions of this list this week. After Gathron asked me to talk about Thanos. I put together a lot of different versions of this. I did win an Infinity ticket with it, but I also lost a lot with it. I think my win rate was right around 50%. And again, I was trying a lot of different options. That is one thing I love about Thanos is it's generally really flexible. Like you don't need to have all the cards. If you see a Thanos list that looks good and you don't have all the cards for it, like um, most cards in a Thanos deck are pretty replaceable. Again, like the main cards here are going to be Psylocke, Professor X, Claw. Those are all Series 3 or earlier. Actually, Professor X and Claw are like Series 2 cards, I think.
So
So,
can I ask? I want to ask a question. So then is
yeah.
Wave here is kind of like a tech card to prevent against like the heavy like multiple card turn 6 plays.
Yep, yeah. So you're playing Wave on 5 generally to protect against that.
I mean
And with that in mind, yeah, I was
that's a light turn 5 then,
well, yeah, we've got a lot of 2 drops, so it's like you play Wave and Jeff on 5 or something. Play Wave and Elsa on 5. Um, but yeah, you're right. It is still a light, and that is a weakness. It is a light turn 5. Plus Mobius is out there that kind of counters Wave. I did I was playing this version with Sandman a little bit. Just really using Sandman to counter those like bounce decks, those Elsa bounce decks. Um, and it didn't feel quite effective enough. Sandman is just I've struggled with Sandman because of his weak power, right? Just putting down 3 power with a 5 energy is just like it hurts. Plus, it's a symmetrical effect, so like you've got to have like big heavy hitters to support Sandman. So you've got to have like Doctor Doom, stuff like that in there too. Um, but yeah, this is really fun. I had a lot of fun with this. About a 50% win rate, and that's I really just done like two decks. I've been playing two different Thanos decks this week. So I've got this version and then the next one as well. Both of them I had a lot of fun with. They're both about 50% win rate. So you know me, like I want my win rate to be higher than 50%. So but that said, I do enjoy playing some of the 50% game,
I
50%
I,
decks.
I just want to
I
say
enjoy playing off meta.
I
I
just
play
want
off
to
meta.
say that this deck does not really seem to be my style of deck. I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah,
not that I'm not going to
I
try
didn't
it.
think
I
so.
guess this just seems like a bit of I don't know, it's a bit stiff.
A little bit stiff. I agree with that. It is, yeah, it's one of those where it's like, yeah, you've got your one main play line. If you don't enjoy decks that just have one main play line, you might not like this one.
Hmm.
Yeah, I will say, I guess, like, what, now that you say that, I think it's really not my favorite style either. Um, that might be that affects win rate too, right? If it's something you don't enjoy, you're probably not going to win as much with it. Um,
Or
so
maybe
okay,
that's
so
also, but maybe that's like, is that a chicken or the egg? You know, like if you were if you had a higher win rate, maybe you'd be enjoying it more. I'm not sure.
oh, that's a good point.
Have you ever
Good
had a
point.
deck where you had like a
That's
super high
very
win
true.
rate and didn't enjoy playing it?
Why not?
All right, so
Um,
yeah, all right, this one it says smooth, so I feel like this is your kind of deck here.
yeah, so I got really excited about this one. So I just discovered this last night on Twitter. I was just I was so here was my thought process. I was like, okay, I want to just try something else. I want to see if there's any other good Thanos decks out there. I was like, who is a creator that I know of who plays a lot of Thanos? And I thought of this creator I really like, really encourage anyone listening to follow him. His name is Peaceful C. So he posts a lot about Thanos. He really enjoys Thanos. He's a really good player. He also has this awesome series with Lambie on just like on high level strategy. That encourage you to find those videos too. But anyway, he posted this yesterday. This Thanos list. He said he's having some success with it. It's very similar, honestly, to the last one. Um, so it includes Professor X. So you still have that Professor X strategy, kind of, but it doesn't have the some of the other pieces for Professor X, namely the Psylocke or the Claw. And then so it's kind of just like basically like a combination of that like Professor X strategy plus a like Silky Smooth strategy. So it includes Elias, Spider-Man, Silk, Angela. So you're kind of just, and the stones do work pretty well with like Angela. You're buffing Angela with the stones. You have the so one thing that's interesting with the stones is like most of the stones don't really synergize with each other very much, but a lot of the stones will synergize with like one specific archetype. So like the space stone allows you to move a card. So that can be very powerful. It can be very surprising. I've been surprised by that a lot. When I think a lane is full, I'm like, okay, this lane is full. I can win this lane. And then it's like, surprise, they actually played Space Stone last turn and they moved a card out of that lane and added a big hitter.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually,
but
I did
but
that
that
in
can syner-
one of my few wins with my Thanos and ones.
nice. Um, yeah, so that can work really well in this deck. We've got Elsa, so we could do a lot of like the big Elsa plays. Any thoughts on this one?
Um, yeah, I guess I'm not. I guess I mean I haven't tried the Elsa Bloodstone with the Thanos to see how that would come into effect, like what those kind of like the final cards are. I feel like I mean I guess where does Mobius fit into this? I mean, I feel like maybe I would do like a Craven instead of a Mobius to like score more on all the moving that's happening. I mean, Mobius maybe is
Yeah,
just like a counter to the cost reduction, like almost like a tech card, a low cost tech card. But uh, I feel like for
yeah,
to amplify my fun, I would rather put a Craven in there.
yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, I think Craven would do very well in this deck instead of Mobius. And I yeah, honestly, I've been cutting Mobius out of a lot of my lists. I will say, like again, I had about a 50% win rate with this one. I didn't play it as much, and Peaceful Sea has a video on YouTube about this one, so I'm planning on watching that video to try to understand more about his thought process with some of these cards, see if there's anything I'm really missing with how I'm playing it.
And
Um, but yeah,
we'll
I
link
think
that
Crave.
video. Let's link that video under in our comment
Oh,
section.
okay, okay, good idea. Yeah, I think Craven would be a good inclusion here. Um, yeah, and you're right. I think Mobius is just like kind of like a standard tech card to just throw in any deck right now, just because there's a lot of cost reduction going around out there. Mobius counters that, but if you'd rather play something else, like uh, I think it's fine.
That's
I don't,
yeah.
I don't, yeah, I
I
don't.
think that
Hard for me
that
to know.
I think that kind of like this is what I was realizing with my Nimroy decks this week is like, well, a couple things. One was that it's like I understand America Chavez. Like America Chavez just exists in decks so that so that it's basically a concentration. Like I like it's kind of like I'd rather go to war with 11 cards than 12. It's kind of like is what it's saying. But you know what? I'd rather have 12. I want 12 to synergize. Like I don't like putting America Chavez in the deck to basically force things forward. And similarly, I mean, like I feel like you can't really survive if you don't have tech cards, like at least one, in your deck or something like that to prevent what they're doing. And so in my Nimroy, I was really trying to figure out what the best number one, the best like one cost card was. And it's like, okay, I could have what is he, Nova, so that would boost mine. But I felt like I wasn't able to finish it that often. And then it's also adds predictability. Um, and then also I was trying Yandu, as kind of like a one cost semi tech. Like at least I could try to pull something out of their deck. But ultimately, I just settled on Deadpool because it creates more fun for me. Like and my deck doesn't really have any tech cards in it, and it's fun, but like ultimately it's not going to win in the end. So I think that my playing style, like I understand one has to have tech cards, but I don't know. I guess for my style, I feel like the Craven would just make it more fun for me, as a man, possibly at the cost of win rate.
Right, right. Yeah, no, I think about that a lot too, and specifically with Chavez, like Chavez can increase your win rate, but it also Chavez does make games more boring oftentimes, and that's if you're just trying to have fun, cut Chavez and play it, add a card that's more fun than Chavez. Um, do you have Killmonger in that deck?
No,
I mean, it's a good tech card that's also can
counters a lot of those ones the opponent wants. I know. Yeah, I thought about that,
right,
but it's it's hard getting that as like the third because if I had that in like the third the turn three or later, like there's no room for it later. I feel like so.
mm, right, right. Yeah, you got to play it by three. Yeah, so that's oftentimes as a tech card, it works best. Killmonger is going to work best like on six.
Yeah.
Um,
Once, yeah,
but it does
once you're,
synergize
yeah,
with your destroy package. You're
it does,
killing.
but like you don't want to hit the Nova early. So it's like, so if you can't play the manga, then like you're not benefiting your side at all, actually, because it's only
Right.
effective late.
Well, if you've got Deadpool, it's good. He's good. He works well with Deadpool.
Right, but again, only early.
And right, right, yeah, yeah. You want to
Because
play like
if I can get the
Deadpool and
Hulk
X Blank
Buster, if I
Freeze.
can get the Hulk Buster on Deadpool, then I can like hit an earlier destroy.
Yeah, but you could do like so yeah, what about this? So if you've got Deadpool on 1 or 2, then you play Hulkbuster on Deadpool turn 3.
Yeah.
Then turn 4, you could do like X-23 and Killmonger.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay, that's interesting. So maybe yeah, maybe I'll try that. I'll take Wolverine out of the deck or something. I'll try. Yeah, I'll tinker around with that. Anyway, that was a fun tangent. So,
what
but yeah,
tangent? Okay,
back
let's move on
to
to
this
our
move. Yeah, show us the next one.
okay. So the
This
next
here
one
we go.
I
This is now you're speaking my language.
yes, I thought you would like this one. So Thanos Destroy. This is actually one of the first like big Thanos archetypes. Was basically like, the goal for this one is you're destroying all of your stones to make death cheaper,
Yep.
right? So it's a Thanos with just a bunch of destroy cards. Honestly, like I don't know how strong this particular list is. I threw this together in like 2 minutes of this is just like if I was gonna play a Thanos Destroy deck, this is where I would start. And then I'd play a few games with it, figure out what's working and what isn't, and make some adjustments from there. But I think Lady Deathstrike, this is maybe the best home for Lady Deathstrike, because she can just destroy your stones for you, plus like whatever benefits she has to destroying your opponent's cards. She can destroy Bucky for you, Wolverine,
X-23.
X-23. Um, I think Killmonger is an important card for this one, just because like again, goal is to destroy a bunch of stones, to make death cheaper. Carnage is very easy to get up to 8. Play 3 stones and then throw Carnage in that lane, and you're like, another benefit to this one is like, whereas like other Thanos builds get very crowded, you know, this one doesn't get nearly as crowded because you're destroying all those stones.
So where does Phoenix Force fit into this?
Basically the thought process with Phoenix Force is that it's often going to draw you a card. So you basically like, you're going to destroy some stones, play Phoenix Force, and Phoenix Force will combine with one of those stones that you destroyed and draw a card for you.
Hmm.
Very cuttable, I would say, on this list. I think Phoenix Force is weak. There was kind of a resurgence of Phoenix Force last week, I think, with I think there's a decent Phoenix Force deck that includes like Shuri and Red Skull, and then like
Hmm.
your standard Phoenix Force cards.
Interesting. Okay. I think this will be my starting point. As soon as I get off the podcast, I'm not even gonna work on editing it. I'm just going to make this deck and try it out. Um, yeah, this
Yeah, I think
I like
this is a
this.
fun one, especially I know you like Destroy, so I think you'll enjoy this one.
Yeah, I mean, there is not probably one of the most satisfying plays in the entire game is just Killmonger daggering everybody.
Yeah, that's what I was about. Like, I think there are a lot of 1 drops going around with Kitty Pride. Is like if Kitty's not throwing priority, like you can catch. Like I've had my Kitty destroyed by Killmonger. There's not a lot of Killmonger going around, but I think it can be a really good tech card right
Hmm. Awesome. Yeah, that seems like a fun one.
now. Okay, so then this one is another one of my favorites. It's so Thanos ongoing with Lockjaw. Um, This one's heyday was really when Quinjet Quinjet was nerfed to deal
Oh,
with this deck.
yeah, when
Basically,
when
it
it
used
used to be able to take costs down below one, right?
right, yeah. So it was like Quinjet used to be like an auto include in any Thanos list because all the stones would be free if you play Quinjet, but now
Ah.
they're not. So that really makes this one a lot weaker. Um, but this one is still very fun. I think most people would think that I'm an idiot for including M'Baku and Omega Red in this list.
I was gonna say,
Um,
it's like, good to see him. Good to see you, Mbaku.
yeah. So, okay, I've had a lot of fun with this list with M'Baku, like because the strategy with M'Baku on this list is you're playing him into Lockjaw, and then he's gonna pop back out.
Yeah.
And it's so fun to see him pop out. And I know he's a bad card. I probably agree with that. He's a bad card, but it is just so fun to see him pop out, especially if he pops out into an Iron Man lane. If you've got Blue Marvel down, if you've got Onslaught on Blue Marvel, right? Like that's going to be a powerful M'Baku that pops out,
Yeah,
and like
that's
I
true.
have like M'Baku has won me a lot of games. Um,
You know what?
so again,
I have not seen that play, but that is a great strategy.
yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I don't know. It's probably not going to be like it's not a top meta deck by any means, but it is fun. Again, I this is another one that I just threw together in a few minutes today, and this would be a good starting point. And when I'm playing this type of list, I often start with Infinite in the deck because I'm trying to get Infinite to come out of Lockjaw, and then after I play it a while, Infinite's one of the first cards I cut just because it's like a dead card in your hand if you draw them. But yeah, and I've got
That'd
like
be that'd be your Chavez right there.
it could be, oh yeah, that's true, that's true. Chavez is good in
Solve
this one.
that
Yeah,
problem with a
you're right. I think
Chavez,
you
which you're
probably
also
do.
happy to have come out of Lockjaw.
Right, right, exactly. Um, Yeah, and like, I guess pretty obvious, like one really solid play is just getting like Onslaught onto an Iron Man, Omega Red, Blue Marvel, Double Dinosaur lane, especially if they pop out of Lockjaw and you're getting them early. And then the stones, you're playing the stones into Lockjaw generally. And like I think there is like a really good play line with like the Time Stone and Lockjaw, just being able if you play the time stone on turn one, then you can play lockjaw on turn two, and then you can put a bunch of stones into lockjaw on three.
Hmm.
Um, but even if you play time stone on turn two, then you can play lockjaw plus some stones on turn
Wait, I have a
three.
question.
Wasp is 0 cost, so she's going into lockjaw. Yeah.
So with the Thanos 620, all six stones have to have been played, right? So let's say Thanos comes out of Lockjaw and then you play this all the stones. Then does it retroactively bump him up to 20?
It's an ongoing. So the additional power for Thanos is an ongoing ability
So that
on
card has to be so that stone
um
has to be on the field.
yeah, the Power Stone. So the Power Stone has to be on the board. Everything else can be just has to have been played. So that everything else can have been destroyed. It can have been put into Lockjaw, but the Power Stone does need to be on the board.
So that might be one you don't run through Lockjaw if you get it. You're gonna you're gonna hold on to that one.
Oh, yeah, it could be, but again, it's usually not your like the big thing you're going for. But yeah, if you know that you've played all the other stones, then maybe you want to make sure you keep that on the board.
Hmm. That seems like a fun one.
Yeah, it is. It's super fun. This might be the most fun version of Thanos. It's just probably not that strong.
Well, you could
And then
spend
one,
a few early rounds. I guess the stones help out to kind of thin out the early rounds of the deck here because you've got a lot of it's like a lot of fours and up.
yeah, right. And I think you can also make this like not an ongoing list and just really do a lot of like big cards that you want to get out of Lockjaw, like a lot of big like six cost cards. Um, Oh yeah, I used to actually run this with Doctor Doom. I think Doctor Doom can be good in here. It's just you just got to be careful about not filling up the board.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then the last one is something that you've already been playing. Thanos Zoo is what they call that. Is a or a zoo deck is just a deck that plays a lot of like one cost cards basically. And usually like in zoo a zoo deck is almost always going to have Khazar and Blue Marvel in it. This specific list I got from Nerf Herder posted this. I played a few games with this one, and I didn't have a lot of success with it, but it's only a few games, small sample size. Um, and I mean, it looks fun. The thing with, I mean, one thing with Thanos in general is Thanos is generally very susceptible to Killmonger, um, but especially Thanos Zoo. So that's why we're running armor. Is like we want to protect our stones from Killmonger. But even then, like this, if you're going up against Killmonger, you're probably going to lose this game because you're like, especially like if you've got Khazar, Blue Marvels, big, if those are a big part of your game plan, Killmonger is just gonna wipe your board clean. And same with Dazzler, like Dazzler depends on you filling up your lanes, and Killmonger can really take that away from you.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, sure. I guess I don't have a very strong reaction to this one. But thanks,
Yeah, I
thank
mean it's got
you,
Elsa.
scruffy looking nerf herder.
Let's see. I think that's all I got.
Okay.
Any other thoughts?
Well, thank you for putting that array of decks together for us. I'm very excited to try out multiple of those in the proving grounds, and then probably in the silver as well. And then who knows? You know, try to get my ladder up there. Once I hit 80, I'll probably come to you for some super decks. I'm like, get me, I'll order me one from the top of the meta. Get it?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Well,
fuck around anymore.
yeah, you can always come to me. Another way to find those decks, my favorite way to find those, like I'm like I just need to get the best deck, is like go on Twitter and search for KM Best or Lambie series and just see what like they've posted on Twitter.
Okay, you heard it here first. Thanks, our loyal listeners out there. In addition to the Peaceful Sea video, which you can find in the comments, hit the subscribe button. It's not Snap. You just subscribe. That's what you get, and then you get a notification that we have posted our next episode. Also in the chat, why don't you tell us what your favorite Thanos deck is? What either the ones that Hoagie's told us or other variations. Go ahead and post your deck list or a link to an image, something like that. So thanks for joining us again. This has been another episode of the Snap Chaps, and we'll see you next time.